So as we all know, this year the BLOXBURG map will be getting a revamp, and on top of that, a lot of the buildings in the map will also be reworked, which has already started happening with things like the club becoming the cinema, the gym, as well as Bloxy Burgers. And as the map is changing, I think it could be fun in today's video to talk about what I think BLOXBURG should add to the new map and how I think it should look. So let's get into it. Really quickly before we start the actual map, I just wanted to say what app I'm using to do this, and that is this app called UDoodle. Honestly, it's like the most random app ever. I just downloaded it one day in like 2020, and I don't know why I like it so much, but I still use it now for all my thumbnails, all my like decals in building, all that sort of stuff. It's honestly just a really good app. This isn't sponsored at all or anything like that. I'm not getting paid. It's just a really good app and it's free. So yeah, anyway, let's talk about what I'm actually going to do to the map. So I already knew like the main thing I wanted to get rid of was the big ugly outside wall of the map. I don't know why. I think it's just like unrealistic, and obviously like BLOXBURG, it's not the most realistic game, but like gameplay is kind of trying to be like real life, like role playing and stuff. I'm trying to keep with the realism. Obviously we're not going to have a global world in BLOXBURG, but I think the edge of the map should be cut off simply by the sea and not by a huge grey wall. I also wanted to include in this map like a lot of things that I know the community want. Obviously I don't even think I need to say this, but this is not going to be the real map. It's not going to look like this. It'll probably look nothing like this, but I know like a common request for the new map is to have things like the beach plots and hillside plots and stuff like that, so I tried my best to include a lot of those things. Honestly, a lot of it is kind of things we already have, just kind of reworked and moved around, but I did also want to keep like the familiarity of the map. So for example, like I kept the town looking relatively the same. I moved some buildings around and I also added some new buildings, but other than that I did change a lot, and I think the final result looks pretty good. Obviously it's not going to be as good as the real map, as the new map will have a whole team of professional people behind it and will not be just some random person drawing on it. And as well as that, I think the map creation process, I think it was meant to happen this year and then they reworked it and changed it. I can't properly remember what the BLOXBURG team said in their live stream, but it was something like that. And I think in total this map probably took me about 6 hours to draw, which is still far too long. Like I don't know why it took me that long, but I mean the new map's probably going to take nearly 2 years from start to finish, so I assume the new map, actually I don't assume, I hope the new map will be a lot better than this. So yeah, anyway, let's stop watching me draw this thing, because honestly it's quite painful to watch. I'm a mess and I was honestly making it up as I go. So let's just take a look at the final map, and here is the final map I came up with. So let's take a closer look and go through what I added, what I changed, and everything in the map. I honestly don't even know where to start, so I think we're just gonna go straight into Riverside, as that's probably the most familiar thing here. For Riverside, I wanted to keep some plots together. As you can see in the map, I did space a lot of them out, but I did want some kind of like suburb area where all the houses are together. And I also know that a lot of builders have plots that go over many plots, like builds that start on one plot and maybe they spread over to 3. So I wanted to somehow be able to incorporate those here and not make them obsolete and not be able to use in the new map. And I did add a lot more houses. I think there's 17 or 18 here, where in BLOXBURG now I think there's only 12. I honestly think I would prefer more than 18. I think like maybe a server of 20 would make servers a lot more alive. But anyway, let's move over to the right and talk about the new hill. So this hill we already kind of have in the game. It has the observatory and obviously the paragliding, and I like the way this looks, so I only changed a few things. I made the hill slightly smaller. It would still be probably the same height, but I have the observatory, and then I also added a museum building, as the observatory already kind of has a little museum in it, but I think a proper museum with a bunch of BLOXBURG history would be really cool. Like if it had Easter eggs of old BLOXBURG updates and stuff like that, I think that would be really fun and interesting and be like more interactive with the community, and I think would be a great opportunity for the game to add some more lore, having maybe the founding fathers of the game and all that sort of stuff. And it would also be cool just to like have another area on the map. Up here I also added like a little roundabout with parking and stuff like that, and I also added a waterfall, and I think this is where the shell trophy would probably go. Going down this path to the side of the hill, this takes us to the woodcutters, which I'm only just noticing now I forgot to put an icon for, but that's what it is. And this is very similar to what we have now. I think this area is fine. I also put the mine still here. The only things I changed was adding a pond and also like a little picnic area. I think that would be like a cute little section there. Anyway, moving up to the right, here is where I put the event area, which is obviously used in Halloween and other special events, and there's not much to say about this. I think it looks cute, and I think it's like off to the side, which I like. Moving up to the right, we have the hillside plot. Up here there's not much to say. We have one on like the lower cliff level and then 2 on the higher cliff. I also decided to put the petrol station here, and yeah, there's not much to say about this. It's just houses on a hill, but I think this looks cute. Now leaving the hill, going back down, we have the campsite, a park, as well as yet another house plot. I think the campsite being closer into town as well as being next to a park would be really fun, and I think it means people would use the campsite a lot more, as I think right now it's too far out to the point where people almost forget about it. I know I certainly do. Honestly, I think the only times I see the campsite are during the Halloween event, as it's next to the Halloween plot, and during the elf hunt, as obviously there's probably going to be an elf there. I also think this house plot would be great for role plays, as it's right by the park and also next to the lake. Now a lake is something I've wanted in BLOXBURG for so long. I just think like the way the river ends now is really random, and it's like, where's that water going? Whereas I think if it ends in a lake, that makes a lot more sense, and also it just gives another area to use. I added a little island in the middle, which I think would be fun, having maybe like a treasure chest and a little secret Easter egg to find. And I think for role plays, a lake's great for like fishing, as well as going for a swim in the lake. I think it's just a great idea. I also decided to move the fisherman hut up here, as right now it's at the beach next to the ice cream parlor, which I think once again realistically doesn't make sense, as who wants 100% ice cream when it's thinking of fish. Like, that just doesn't really work. But I also think it would be just a good idea to spread the jobs out. As right now we have 2 by the beach, 2 by the mining area, and then the rest are just in town. And I think if they're spread out a lot more, it would give players a lot more reasoning to go around the map. I also added a little jet ski thing. I don't know what this fully would be. I haven't like fleshed out a proper idea, but I think just having boats, especially if the map is surrounded by water, being able to rent a boat or buy a boat, I just think that would be a lot of fun. And that is everything on Riverside, so let's move over to the town. So starting slap bang in the middle, I think a statue of Tom would be great. Obviously he's been the cover of the game for ages and he's like the mayor, and not that Bloxburg is like a dictatorship or anything, but I think just a statue of Tom in the middle would be really cute. Moving up, the town is pretty much recognizable to what it is now. Like, we still have the town hall at the top, the gym where it is, as well as Pizza Planet and fancy furnishings. The only things I really changed were I moved the supermarket over to the other side, as well as moving the car park up here. The reason I did this is because right now the town has a lot of car parking areas for each different shop, and I think the reason that no one uses the car park is because it's out of the way, and why would you park there when you can literally park in town? So I think having the car park there, like being able to park there and then walk over to Pizza Planet for your job, would make a lot of sense and would kind of cancel out the need for so many car parking areas. Now I did add like another road of the town, and here is where I moved the hairdressers, Bloxy Burgers, the cleaning job, and then I added 4 new areas, being a florist, a clothing shop, a smoothie / boba shop area, as well as a simple cafe, which I'm actually surprised we don't have a cafe in Bloxburg. So right now we have like a path going down the center. I decided to make this like a little river, kind of having an homage to the original map, having the rivers end in those weird little tunnel areas, but I think it makes a lot more sense in the actual town. Down here is where I've also moved the cinema. I think it would just look a lot more in place here and would also just have a lot more room, as I think right now it's kind of just like huge in comparison to the rest of the town. And here is where I also added the school, and I purposely put the school here and also the new shops I added, as I think like after school activities going to like the boba shop or to like a clothing shop, I think that makes a lot of sense for gameplay. Now the school I gave a lot of space to, as I think it would have a lot of fields, like maybe a running track, stuff like that. And also the school itself I assume would have a lot of classrooms and things like that. I don't know how the school will look, that's what I'm hoping it will be like. But Bloxburg have confirmed that we're getting a school this year, and honestly I'm so excited for the school, not because I really care about it too much, but because the community wants one so bad and it's all they've talked about for so many years. So I also hope the school's gonna be good, because I think the community will be so mad if it isn't. Moving down to the beach, and I didn't really know what to add here, so all I added was a coffee shop. I think maybe like different stalls of different things would be fun here, kind of like in the summer update we got this year. We got like that festival, like the food festival. I think having permanent stands and stuff like that on the beach would be really cool, especially on like a boardwalk. Anyway, moving over, obviously I didn't want to get rid of the Ferris wheel. I thought maybe having an entire fun fair would be so cool. Now I don't think they would actually add this, as I think it would take a lot of building work and a lot of game mechanics to make it actually function, but having like a Helter Skelter, a teacup ride, I think that would be really fun, and once again amazing for role plays, and especially being next to the school. Now moving up again, we have another boardwalk as well as the island home. So I moved the ice cream parlor up here just because I wanted it to be here. Honestly, there's no reason. I think it's fine where it is right now, but up here could be cute as well. Now I did an island home, which I think is kind of controversial, because I think maybe there being just one, I feel like this island home would be full in every single server. So I don't know if they would actually add this, as I think it would probably cause more harm than good, because the Bloxburg community love to complain about everything. But I just think different plot locations is always a fun idea, and I think this would be a really fun one. Moving back up to the top, we have the beach plot, and I know this is just like the hillside plots. People have been asking this for ages, and I think the Bloxburg team will definitely add them, as I know there's something that people really want. And I am people, I think these would be great. I honestly think of it as like a Sims level. Like in the Sims you can build stuff on the beach and there's different areas. I think it just makes it a lot more fun and would really improve the experience of builders who can now build in different locations. Moving up to the top, I added another petrol station, as I think there's just being one is kind of unrealistic. Honestly, I think a third in the town would also be a great idea. Here I added a swimming center, which I think would be a great job to be like a lifeguard, as well as for role plays it would be amazing. Maybe even linking to the school, you could have school trips here. I don't know if I'm being too like hypothetical, but I think that'd be a great idea and I think it'd be really useful. I also moved the mechanics job up here as well as the car shop. I think it would just have a lot more room, and I think it would be really cool for every week, say there was like a car of the week and it was on sale at the car shop. I think that's a fun idea and would give people a reason to go onto the game and be like, oh, this week the Jeep is 10% off, I need to buy it this week, or you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, finally moving back up onto the hill, we have 3 more house plots on the hill. I think having a hill like around the back of the map is very realistic, especially going from like the hills down to the water. I think that would be really cool. I also think like just the highway area around here would be fun to drive around and look over and stuff like that. And finally, the hillside connects to the other hillside by a bridge. But anyway, that is everything on my map. I don't know how I talked about this for like 9 minutes, and I bet you're sick of looking at this map just as much as I am. But honestly, I'm really proud of myself for how this turned out. I don't really draw a lot anymore, so I think I did actually a pretty decent job, and I hope you like listening to all my ideas. I want you to let me know your ideas down in the comments below of what you want to see in the map, as I think we're in a really exciting time for Bloxburg of so much change happening. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you somehow made it through me talking absolute rubbish for this long, make sure to like, subscribe, do all that rubbish if you want to hear me talk rubbish again. And here's to 2025 of Bloxburg. I think it's gonna be a great year. I think it's probably gonna be the biggest year of Bloxburg history. Not to overhype it, but to overhype it, because who cares? But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.